Merhaba, and welcome to our channel. Today, we're embarking on a journey to the enchanting land of Turkey, a country where East meets West and history unfolds before your very eyes. We're going to equip you with the essential do's and don'ts, those little nuggets of wisdom that can transform your trip from memorable to unforgettable. Get ready for some insider tips on hotels, tantalizing food, savvy savings, and ensuring your safety throughout your Turkish adventure. Let's make your trip to Turkey the trip of a lifetime. Turkey, my friends, is a feast for the senses, a vibrant tapestry of ancient wonders and modern marvels. And to truly savor its essence, you've got to dive right in. First on your must-do list, Hagia Sophia in Istanbul. Picture this, a masterpiece of Byzantine architecture, once a church, then a mosque, now a museum whispering tales of empires past. Lose yourself in its grandeur, its mosaics shimmering like jewels. And speaking of Istanbul, no trip is complete without a cruise down the Bosphorus Strait. The gentle sway of the boat, the sun-kissed shores, the calls to prayer echoing through the air, pure magic. But Turkey's allure extends far beyond Istanbul. Journey to Cappadocia, a surreal landscape sculpted by time and nature. Imagine soaring above these fairy chimneys in a hot air balloon as the sun paints the sky in hues of apricot and rose. It's an experience straight out of a dream. Now let's talk about embracing the Turkish culture. Remember, a simple merhaba, hello, or teşekkür ederim, thank you, goes a long way in connecting with the locals. And when invited into someone's home, it's customary to remove your shoes, a sign of respect that speaks volumes. Oh, and one last thing, be prepared to be charmed by the Turkish tradition of hospitality. It's not just a custom here, it's a way of life. Alright, adventurers, let's talk about those little cultural nuances that can sometimes trip up even the most seasoned traveler. In Turkey, public displays of affection are best kept on the conservative side. A little hand-holding? Perfectly fine, but save those passionate embraces for a more private setting. Now, when it comes to photography, always ask permission before snapping pictures of people, especially women. It's a matter of respect, and a little courtesy goes a long way. And while we're on the subject of respect, remember that mosques are sacred places of worship. Dress modestly when visiting, ladies. A scarf to cover your head is a must, and gentlemen, shorts are a no-no. Think of it as a cultural adventure in itself. Now let's talk about water. While the tap water in Turkey is generally safe, I always recommend sticking to bottled water, just to be on the safe side. Think of it as a little investment in your well-being. And speaking of investments, be wary of those genuine designer goods sold at bargain prices. Chances are they're counterfeit. Remember, if a deal seems too good to be true, it probably is. Instead, why not seek out authentic Turkish crafts? A beautiful kilim rug, perhaps, or a hand-painted ceramic bowl. Now those are souvenirs you'll treasure for years to come. All right, fellow explorers, let's make sure your Turkish adventure is smooth sailing from start to finish. First things first, visas. Many nationalities can enter Turkey visa-free for a certain period, but it's always best to check the latest visa requirements before you go. And speaking of preparation, make sure you've got travel insurance that covers medical expenses and unexpected hiccups along the way. Trust me, it's better to be safe than sorry. Now, let's talk about getting around. Turkey has an excellent public transportation system. Buses are comfortable and affordable, and the train network, while limited, can be a scenic way to travel between cities. But for true flexibility, renting a car is the way to go. Just be prepared for some challenging driving conditions, especially in the bigger cities. And here's a little tip: download an offline map app before you go. It'll be your best friend when navigating those winding Turkish roads. And finally, don't forget to pack for all seasons, even if you're traveling in the heat of summer. Weather in Turkey can be unpredictable, so it's always best to be prepared. A light jacket, a raincoat, and comfortable walking shoes are your best companions on this Turkish adventure.
Ah, Turkish cuisine, a symphony of flavors and aromas that will tantalize your taste buds. From the bustling streets of Istanbul to the charming cafes in Cappadocia, prepare for a culinary adventure like no other. Let's start with breakfast, the most important meal of the day. Imagine this: a table laden with fresh bread, savory cheeses, olives, tomatoes, cucumbers, and of course, strong Turkish tea, the lifeblood of Turkey. It's the perfect way to fuel up for a day of exploring. Now for lunch, you can't go wrong with a classic doner kebab. Thinly sliced meat, grilled to perfection, and tucked into a fluffy pita bread with all the fixings. It's street food at its finest. But let's not forget about Turkey's national dish, the hearty and flavourful Iskender kebab. Diced lamb or beef, simmered in a rich tomato sauce and served over pieces of peed bread with a generous dollop of yogurt and a drizzle of melted butter. It's a meal fit for a sultan. And for dinner? Oh, the choices are endless. Indulge in a traditional Turkish meze platter, a delightful assortment of small dishes designed for sharing. Think hummus, baba ganoush, stuffed grape leaves, and grilled octopus. It's a feast for both the eyes and the stomach. And to satisfy your sweet tooth, don't miss out on baklava, layers of flaky pastry filled with chopped nuts and drenched in honey. It's the perfect ending to a delicious Turkish meal.
Now let's talk about making your Turkish lira stretch further, because traveling smart shouldn't mean breaking the bank. First things first, embrace the art of bargaining, especially at local markets. It's part of the culture, a playful dance between buyer and seller. Don't be afraid to haggle a bit, but always do so with a smile and a sense of humor. And speaking of markets, skip those pricey tourist traps and head straight to the local bazaars. Not only will you find better deals, but you'll also experience the true heart of Turkish commerce. Imagine yourself wandering through the labyrinthine stalls of the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul, surrounded by the sights, sounds, and smells of Turkish life. It's an experience you won't soon forget. Now, when it comes to transportation, public transportation is your best friend. Buses and trams are incredibly affordable and efficient, especially in the cities. And for longer distances, consider taking an overnight bus. Not only will you save money on a night's accommodation, but you'll also wake up at your destination, ready to explore. And here's a little tip look for free activities. Many of Turkey's most impressive sites, like the Blue Mosque and the Süleymaniye Mosque, are free to enter. Soak up the history, admire the architecture, and let your travel budget breathe a sigh of relief. And finally, eat like a local. Skip those fancy restaurants and seek out the local Esnaf Lokantası, small, family-run eateries, serving up delicious home-cooked Turkish food at incredibly affordable prices. It's the best way to experience the true flavors of Turkey without breaking the bank.
All right, adventurers, let's talk about staying safe and secure throughout your Turkish escapade, because peace of mind is the best travel companion. First and foremost, exercise the same common sense you would back home. Be aware of your surroundings, especially in crowded areas. Keep a close eye on your belongings and avoid flashing large sums of cash. And speaking of cash, it's always a good idea to carry small denominations of Turkish lira for everyday purchases. Many smaller shops and vendors may not accept credit cards, so it's best to be prepared. Now, when it comes to accommodation, choose reputable hotels or guest houses with good security measures in place. Look for places with 24-hour reception, secure locks on doors and windows, and well-lit common areas. And here's a little tip: let your loved ones know your itinerary. It's always a good idea to have someone back home who knows your whereabouts, just in case. And while Turkey is generally a safe country, it's always wise to be prepared for the unexpected. Familiarize yourself with the location of your country's embassy or consulate in Turkey, just in case you need assistance. And lastly, don't hesitate to approach local authorities if you have any concerns or need help. Turkish people are incredibly hospitable and helpful, and they'll be happy to assist you.
Well, there you have it, my friends. The essential do's and don'ts, tips and tricks to make your Turkish adventure truly unforgettable. From exploring ancient wonders to savoring the flavors of Turkish cuisine, from embracing the local culture to staying safe and secure, you're now well equipped to navigate this enchanting land. Remember, travel is about more than just checking off destinations. It's about immersing yourself in new cultures, connecting with locals, and creating memories that will last a lifetime. So, pack your bags, grab your guidebook, and get ready for an adventure of a lifetime in Turkey.